Hello everyone, my name is Rick Jenkins and I'm the publisher at SC Biz. We're the media company that serves 100,000 business executives throughout South Carolina. Welcome to SC Biz TV and another episode in our ongoing video series, Coffee With. Today I'm having coffee with Lisa Gunton. She is the Vice President of Human Resources at AFL. AFL, headquartered in Duncan, designs, engineers, and sometimes installs a variety of optical solutions for companies such as AT&T, Verizon, and Charter, and they do so throughout the world. Lisa Gunton, welcome.
Thank you, Rick. It's good to be here.
It is good to have you here. Thank you. You came here from Duncan. Now, that's where the headquarters is, right?
That's correct.
And you live up in Duncan?
Yes.
Okay.
Only 10 minutes from my office.
10 minutes from your office. That works good. AFL, before we get to talking about AFL, let's talk about you for a little bit. Where are you from?
I grew up in Western North Carolina.
Western North Carolina. Whereabouts?
Sylva, North Carolina, which is about 50 miles west of Asheville.
Got it. You grew up there, and I believe you got an MBA from the University of South Carolina.
I did. Prior to that, I went to Appalachian State University in Boone and got a degree in computer science.
Got it. So you went from Sylva to Appy State in Boone to an MBA in South Carolina, and then you found your way to Milliken, where you stayed a long time.
I sure did.
How long did you stay there?
Over 30 years. I hate to admit that, but over 30 years.
And what made you leave Milliken after 30 years to come to AFL?
Yeah, I was just ready, I think, for a change, and I was fascinated by AFL, the products they made. I'd heard an awfully lot about their involvement in the community and heard an awfully lot about the great people who work there.
Right. AFL is a great company, and I want to get into talking about a wide variety of things. I'm glad you're here. I talked with CEO Jody Gallagher. He was in here in our studio. I don't know. It's probably been a little over a year, maybe 2 years now. I don't know. But I had a great time with Jody. Great guy. Seems to be a great leader.
He certainly is. He certainly is. He's led us through many acquisitions, through growth of the business, and most recently through COVID.
Right. Let's talk about AFL for a second. Now, AFL does a wide variety of things, and if I was to try and tell what they did, it would probably take me a half an hour to get an elevator speech out. But AFL basically is an international manufacturer of optic cable. And now I know that is putting it simply, but AFL, about 6,000 employees worldwide, about 1,200 up in Duncan, and they do business in about 130 different countries throughout the world. Big stuff.
Very big stuff.
Yeah, tell me about it.
So we are basically a product company and a services company, and that combination allows us to create an innovative end-to-end solution for our customers.
Right.
And what we really do is enhance communications. We enable all kinds of communications.
You sell to businesses like AT&T, Verizon, Charter, these types. Those are your big customers?
They are. And one way that I like to look at it and explain it is to look at the different markets that we're in and just a little bit about who those markets contain. So we have 5 different markets that we're involved in. These are not in any particular order, but the first one is hyperscale. So when we think about hyperscale, we think cloud providers, we think data centers. The next one is enterprise, and there we think about institutions and venues. Energy, which is where we really got our start, electric utilities. And then we have service provider, which provides broadband, which everybody's excited about these days, and telecom.
That's a lot.
It really is a lot. I mean, we have probably thousands of products.
Yeah. In Duncan, though, we were talking a little bit before we went on air, 7 or 8 buildings now in Spartanburg County.
We have 8 now.
8 buildings, 1,200 employees that work in all of those. This is, I would assume that this is the world headquarters for AFL.
It is.
Even though, of course, you're a subsidiary of Fujikura.
That's correct.
In Tokyo, but this is the world headquarters in Duncan, right?
Uh-huh.
1,200 employees, and you are the HR, vice president of HR. That's got to be a big job, right?
It is.
What's the big challenge right now?
The big challenge right now is the workforce, getting the people that we need, getting trained people. Now, I think this is a issue across the U.S. and in other countries as well.
Right. Workforce is always an issue. I can't tell you how many stories that we have written, how many videos that I have done, how many conversations I've had with people that are in all kinds of different industries that experience the same thing constantly, and that is workforce. That is getting the right folks to do the right jobs. It's always a challenge, and I would assume now, well, I'm not going to assume. I don't know if for AFL it's better or worse as we come out of COVID, and now people have different expectations about what kind of jobs they want and if they should work in the office or if they should work at home. What are you finding?
So people became accustomed to working at home. You know, when we first went out with COVID, it was mid-March of last year. And I will say that we were known as an old school, I'll use that term, company, where we wanted everybody to be in the office from 8 till 5, Monday through Friday. And so we were a little bit, we didn't know what to expect when we sent people home. And I will say that, you know, so we've gone home twice now. The first time we went home, I think we were learning how to do it. Everybody was learning how to do it while dealing with school kids, students being home. But we were successful, I will say. We came back to the office in July timeframe last year, and then in November we went back home. And I think then we knew what we were doing, I'll say, or we knew more about what we were doing, so it was easier to work from home. And since we have come back, or we did come back full-time, I'll say, we allowed people to work 3 days in the office and 2 days at home.
Right.
And the reason for the 3 days in the office is really collaboration.
Yeah, I hear you. And I'm one of those old school guys too, right? I remember when all this happened, we talked a little before we came up here, that we talked about, the company started talking about letting people work from home, and I pushed back on it. I was one of those people who I just did not want to do it. I understood from a safety perspective why we had to, but it really, really made me nervous. But I found what I think we're all finding, and that is the job is going to get done. And if you've got good employees and they've got goals and they know what they have to accomplish, they're going to get it accomplished. And things have gone well for us, and we learned. What so many companies did is that we can do this thing, and I think now we can all save a little bit on brick and mortar as time goes on. You found the same thing?
The last 18 months, COVID has practically consumed my life. We immediately, once it hit, we immediately sent our office associates home to work, and our first priority was keeping all of our associates safe and healthy. And then our second priority was keeping our operations running, maintaining those operations so that we could continue to supply product to our customers. We are classified as an essential business, and the reason we are is because our products and services are a large part of the nation's infrastructure. Mm-hmm. So those were our two priorities during COVID. I think we did, the thing that amazes me about it is that, or I guess I would say that I'm most proud of, is the way that we were able to adapt. So as we went through COVID and, various things changed, the world changed, the COVID situation changed, then we were able to adapt our our procedures and our protocols to match that.
Growing a lot, AFL. AFL still growing like a weed?
We are.
What's going on?
We're really growing through expanding our current product line, innovating new products, and also through acquisitions. And let me think, in the last 2 years, we have acquired 3 different companies. So it's exciting for HR to be involved in all of the integration of those companies. It presents some challenges, but still very exciting.
Actually, I can't imagine. 3 in the past how long?
I think it's been 2 years.
Wow. Yeah, every single one, I would think that you have to combine, systems and ways of doing things and change procedures and policies. That's got to be tough for an HR executive, huh?
It is. I
hope you have a huge staff.
Not so much. Enough to get the job done, though. Very dedicated people.
We were talking about Jody, and so I want to take a minute break here, guys. I don't know if you guys have seen this. It's been archived on SC Biz TV for about 1.5 years or so, but Jody and I came over and he did a video with me called 120 Seconds. And we've done 5, 6, 7 of these where I sit and ask as many questions as possible of an executive like Jody, and he or she answers as many as he or she can in 120 seconds. Take a look at this. Jody and I had a good time with it. We'll be right back. All right, you ready to go 120 seconds?
Let's do it.
All right, man, let's go. All right, guys, give me a bell. Jody, where are you from?
From New Jersey.
You went to Clarkson University in New York. Why the heck?
Well, I went there to play hockey.
Oh, goodness.
And way upstate New York.
Yeah.
And I had dreams of playing professional hockey.
Didn't work out.
Didn't work out.
They have an alpine skiing team. Did you get on the skis?
Never did until after I was out of college.
What was your first job out of college?
Went to work as an accountant in Texas, outside of Austin, Texas.
You've been with AFL a long time. How many years?
Good question. 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah.
Why 30 years?
It's been a great run.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. Enjoyed the industry, people, and it's been a fantastic opportunity for me.
Does AFL stand for anything specific?
It does. America Fujikura Limited.
I did not know that. Good information. 10 seconds. Tell us what AFL does.
AFL designs, engineers, sometimes installs a lot of optical solutions for customers like AT&T,
Right.
Verizon, Charter,
Gotcha.
power utility companies, the likes of that.
You got your elevator speech down good. I like it. Hey, I read that AFL manufactures a special optic fiber cable that has 1,728 multi-fiber optical fibers in it. That blows my mind. How can that happen?
Well, you're not up to date because we actually have one that's even bigger than that, 6,900.
There is no way. And
It's-
how big is the cable that we're talking about where all that's inside?
About an inch in diameter.
Oh, goodness
It's
gracious.
incredible.
When did you become president and CEO at AFL?
2003.
2003. A whole lot of things have happened in 2003. A lot of mergers. How many have you overseen?
Probably about 30.
Yeah, 30.
Yeah.
There's one called Spliggity. What the heck is Spliggity?
Everyone asked me that question. It's a splicing and testing company, and
Yeah.
the owners of that company, when they would go out in the morning to start their work of splicing,
Right.
they nicknamed it "Let's Go Spliggity."
I love it. What a great name. Let's keep going for just a second. Parent company, Fujikura in Japan. How many times you been to Japan?
Well over 100.
Well over 100. Is the sushi good?
Sushi's great.
Excellent. Jody, I appreciate you, man. That's 120 seconds with Jody Gallagher, who is the CEO at AFL. We'll see you next time. All right, welcome back, folks. That was a video that I did a year and a half or so ago with Jody Gallagher. Jody is, of course, the CEO at AFL, and now I am sitting here with the Vice President of Human Resources, Lisa Gunton. And Lisa, what other big challenges are going on with AFL these days? What besides COVID, what else is happening, making your life a little tough?
So we talked about workforce already.
Right.
That is a big one for us as we try to figure out how to attract and recruit and train and retain employees. I think every other company is also dealing with that. So we're faced with what makes us different, and certainly our culture makes us different. I think the products that we make are very exciting. I mean, if you're sitting in a football stadium, or if you're sitting at a concert and you want to take a picture and put it on your Facebook page or put it on Instagram and transmit. I mean, and obviously you're using your phone. Then think about AFL, because our products and services actually make that work.
Right. Exactly. Almost everything I look at now that I think about it when I get home can be tied to you guys in one way or another. And that's nice to know that we got somebody right here in our backyard that is capable of providing that type of technology to us all. Let's talk about the future. I mean, what do you see? 30 or so mergers in 30 years. You can't keep going at that rate forever. What's going on in the next 5 years?
So we do have the growth markets on digital transformation, which I mentioned. Another one is grid modernization, and what that really is the electric utilities are using more and more fiber optics in their networks, which is their grid. So that's an area of focus for us. So as we talk about digital transformation, what that means is that, or one of the things that means is that there's going to be more and more data, and people want that data to be real time. And so that presents an opportunity for us in what we call edge computing, because we're going to need that computing to bring the data to the end user. And so we refer to that as they're bringing it to the edge.
Right.
So that's another area of focus and growth for us.
We talked about AFL being a subsidiary of Fujikura, which is located in Tokyo, right?
That's right.
You've been to Tokyo?
I have.
How many times?
3.
I'll ask you the same thing that I asked Jody. How's the sushi over there?
It's wonderful.
That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about Tokyo.
So the city is amazing. The views are amazing. The people are very friendly. There's actually, it's a big city, but there's actually some areas of it that have really pretty greenery, plants, flowers, that kind of thing.
Right. Folks, that is Lisa Gunton. She is the Vice President of Human Resources for AFL. Lisa, I appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for asking me.
Oh, you're very
welcome.
welcome.
It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for me, too. I enjoyed your company. Thanks for coming up. Hey to my good buddy, Jody.
Certainly will.
And folks, that concludes another episode of Coffee With here on SC Biz TV. Stick around and see if there are any others that you might like to watch, because we've got over 160 videos archived on SC Biz TV, and we'll see you next time.